it's Debbie Gilbert. I'm the host of the Business Awards show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Businesswomen Awards and the Best SME Awards. And today I'm delighted to welcome Phoenix Humphreys, founder of Raise to Rise. Phoenix works with charities, CICs, and community organisations, helping them secure funding in an ethical and sustainable way so they can create even greater impact. And in just 3 years, she has built an impressive reputation, already being recognised as one of the F Entrepreneur I Also for 2025 and named Solopreneur One to Watch at the Women Who Achieves Awards. And she's become a silver winner in the Best Businesswomen Awards. And there's a few awards bubbling under for 2026, which we'll ask her more about later. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about Phoenix's journey and what inspired her to launch Raise to Rise and her advice for charities or community groups, CICs, who are looking to secure more funding. So welcome, Phoenix.
Thank you so much for having me, Debbie.
Oh, it's great to have you here. So we always start off on our show talking about what led people to set up their own business because you'd
Mhm.
been working, writing grants and fundraising for about 5 years now. So 3 years ago, you took the brave step to set up Raise to Rise. So tell us a bit about that and what made you decide to set up on your own.
Yeah, of course. I was working for a larger consultancy based in Birmingham, and by larger, I mean there was only two or three of us there,
Mm.
but their kind of ideal client were larger charities,
Mm.
and I am always so grateful to Adam and Together CSR for giving me my start in the sector, and I kind of came into the sector with a corporate background, but just loved fundraising and was like, I need to do this, it's my passion. But they were working with quite larger charities, and it wasn't just them. I was seeing a lot of consultants really kind of not really engage with the smaller charities. So I've worked with charities from as low a turnover as 7K a year right up to over 1 million. So that a lot of the teeny tiny little organizations, they're not able to pay much at all for fundraising support or even actually access it at all. So the whole mission and the point of Raise to Rise is to be accessible and affordable to new and small organizations. And 3 years in, I'm steadfast by that mission still. And I've worked with about 40 organizations now, be it in kind of advice and advocacy support to kind of one-off project, repeat project work to kind of actually ongoing writing support and kind of speaking with their CEO basically every single week, which is, yeah, amazing.
I love that you've picked that niche because it is a niche that it's a chicken and egg situation because
Mm,
without the grant funding, they're not going to grow. They're not going to be able to deliver the work
right,
that's
yeah.
so needed in their sector. And to access the grant funding support, you need to have money to do that. So it's a kind of chicken and egg situation. So I love the fact that you have targeted your work at that sector. So what were you doing in corporate land before you landed into the world of charity?
So I was oh God, my brain's gone now. I was the head of facilities for an electric motor research and development company that
Wow.
moved into manufacturing while I was there. And I actually helped design and build a new site at Silverstone. And they had three sites in the UK, and then they had another site in the Netherlands. And just as I was leaving, they were engaging with a manufacturing site in India as well. So it was such a huge change, and I love kind of like telling the story because it's just such a wild like career development.
That is a wild leap, to put it mildly, isn't it? But it was obviously your calling, wasn't it? I mean, let's be honest, it sounds like to me that this was something that was calling to you, that you wanted to be involved in this sector. And obviously setting up
100%.
on your own, you've probably had some challenges along the way. So what sort of things have you faced in the first 3 years of running your business? What have been the greatest challenges that you've worked through?
I think that a couple of the biggest challenges have been like have been burnout and have been managing everything all on my own because you kind of go from like being a team player in corporate or working for someone else to then you're managing everything, you know, your marketing, your socials, your strategy, your workload, your clients, like all of that you're managing yourself. So it's really hard to kind of do that and do that consistently and well, I think.
Yes, that's quite a big challenge.
And then another one I would say is actually asking for help, which I'm the first to say, are you okay? Do you need any support? You know, are you struggling? Like, what can I do to help? And I'm the last person to then ask for help. So that's been like, especially the last 6 months, I think have been a real learning curve for me, and I'm getting much, much better at it and taking my own advice now as well.
And how have you got leads for your business? Because that's always the challenge, isn't it, when you set up on your own?
It is. I started with one client. So I had one client come with me who from the consultancy with okay from my previous mentor 100% and support from him as well. I started with one client. My kind of whole approach to marketing and my whole approach to my marketing strategy has basically been Athena networking, other networking as well, and my LinkedIn. So it's such a heart-led sector, which is something that drew me to it immediately. But that means you can't really do kind of traditional selling. You know, my whole kind of approach is never to walk into a room and sell. It's always to walk into a room and learn people's stories and hear people's stories. And I think that approach has just the impact of that has been phenomenal. And I think the last 3 years I've built an incredible kind of visibility and name for myself doing that. And I'm nicknamed the charity lady in Athena now, which I think is very apt.
But that's good because that means that you're getting that reputation for
Mm,
supporting charities and CICs because they have their own unique set of challenges.
yes,
So we often hear them described as, oh, well, they are a business, they're just in the third sector, but actually they have a lot of other challenges that
mm,
businesses don't have. So I think it's good that you have now built that reputation because that means people will point those relevant leads towards you when they hear somebody who needs your help, which is what networking is all about, isn't it, at the end of the day?
100%. Yeah. I had something so wild happen to me last week. I met with a new charity. They're based in Devon. And it's a maritime historical preservation charity. And I loved meeting them. My great grandfather was one of the oldest serving lighthousemen in on the Isle of Wight. So I was like so excited to meet them and just chat to them. And the lady said, "Oh, we have spoken about you in our CEO networking group. Two other organizations have mentioned you." And I had a real kind of pinch me moment of like, that's incredible. And I kind of was like, I didn't know what to say. And I was just like, oh, I hope I live up to my my reputation, you know.
That's
But it was just lovely that now I'm starting to be mentioned in those circles and I'm a real kind of like trusted partner of charities, which is just so special.
Yeah, that's amazing because actually your industry is not that big, it's still quite small.
Mm,
And AI, we know AI is out there and everyone's
yes.
using AI for things now and thinking it's the cure-all, and it really isn't. So
No.
let's talk about the sorts of things that you can bring to a charity or a CIC in terms of grant bids. Because obviously, people could go on to ChatGPT or Claude and put in some stuff about their charity and it could spew out a load of stuff about what grants they might be able to apply for. And even get it to write the grant bid. But actually, getting a person to do it is a much better solution, isn't it? Talk about what you do with charities and CICs.
It is, I think it's still really important to be to be human led in fundraising. Um, AI is a fantastic tool that can save time, and as we know, time is money, and that's so much more relevant for charities and CICs who literally have shoestring budgets.
Mm.
But it will never replace, or not anytime soon, will replace kind of the genuine research that you can do. And a lot we're seeing as well a lot of the research done by ChatGPT, for example, is just not true, and it's pulling stuff out that and it's saying things that aren't true. So, doing your own research, before I start writing for a client, I do national research, whether that's men's mental health statistics, whether that's violence against women statistics, whether that's, cancer statistics, anything. But I've worked with such a wide range of charities. It's just I'm so proud of all the organisations I work with. So I look at national statistics and I look at like hyperlocal of where they're based as well. Looking then as well at like the internal data of a charity. You want that qualitative and quantitative data. So you want the testimonials and the case studies and the emotional impact that the organisation has had on people. But you also want, 97% said that they felt more supported since engaging with us. 87% said XYZ. So you need that. And then I think when it comes to writing, I always try and be quite data led,
Mm.
because that is what funders like to see. But it's talking about the organization in a way that shows shows their story, shows the emotion, shows why they do what they do and how they do it and what kind of passion is there. But then also being really clear with like the outcomes as well and kind of factual in a sense of like, you give us this funding, this is what we'll deliver of it, this
Mm.
is what the impact will make. It's that balance, I think, and um, it's it's so hard to get that from an AI tool. I
Mm.
think it needs to come from a creative human brain still.
And there are specific grants that are out there. I mean, we all know about the National Lottery, for example, most people do
Yes.
anyway, and things like Comic Relief and
Mm,
Children in Need. But there are literally thousands of grants out there, aren't there?
yes.
And you have that knowledge, firstly, of the ones that perhaps you've already applied to for other charities or
Mm.
CICs, but also you have presumably have tools at your fingertips that you can go and research. Am I right?
Yes, and I do try and speak about this a lot. There are some fantastic free tools for small organizations to use. So Charity Excellence Framework is a fantastic resource online. Ian is a just a champion for the sector and honestly like my personal hero. I adore him so much. I've yet to meet him. It's on my to-do list. It's one of my goals. And there are just countless resources on his website. And there is a free funding finder, say that quickly, on his website, which is fantastic. It's not the most expansive database I use, but it is brilliant. And then another one I use is My Funding Central. However, that's on like a sliding scale. So the larger you are of an organization, the more expensive it is to
Mm.
use, which I do like that pricing concept in the charity sector, I
Yeah.
must admit.
That's a really good idea,
Um,
isn't it? Yeah, I like
yes,
that.
yeah. But again, it takes so much time to research,
Mm.
and so much time to kind of hone in the skill of putting certain filters on for certain things, searching for keywords, and then, very quickly trawling through all of the data basically it spits out to then pull a list together. I think one of the most kind of said things to me is that they don't have capacity, they don't have the time to do either the writing, the funding searches. So that's what a lot of my clients come to me for, is like they just don't have the capacity. Which, yeah, I mean, you can imagine a small business owner doing everything under the sun, and then a small charity CEO does that and then 10 times more as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, you've got the knowledge and expertise, and like you've already alluded to, it's often data led. So you have to go off and do that research. So there's
Yes.
several components. But if a charity or CIC is listening to this podcast or a community project, because it could be something that's slightly a little bit not a charity or a CIC,
Mm.
how do they start getting kind of grant ready? What are the sort of things that they need? What ducks do they need to put in a row? What would you advise?
I definitely start with your governance. The Charity Commission has like really clear guidelines on governance, and funders do as well. So the funders are a lot more kind of judgmental, I would say, actually, of CICs than of registered charities. So really making sure that you've got the governance documents, you've got all of the info kind of ready to go in a folder, to make sure you're ready to apply for grants is really key. I would say as well that having kind of that document of your testimonials ready to pull from, that document of your kind of internal data and feedback and things like that to pull from is really important. Um, it's it's so it can vary from organization to organization, and there's kind of no one hard and fast rule of like how do you get grant ready. But I think also anything you're applying to, I know it sounds really silly, Debbie, but making sure that you've got the capacity to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. I had a great call just before I jumped on with you actually with Kev from the Leg Up Project. He is one of my favourite organisations to work with. He's such an amazing guy, and has just done so much incredible work for men and women's mental health in the country. And we were sort of going through this bid, looking at this bid, and he was like, "Do you know what, Phoenix? I don't think we can deliver it. I'm not
Mm.
confident." And he was like, I think we should pull out. And I said, do you know what, Kev? That is the most responsible thing you can do is before you submit it, actually go, I don't think this is deliverable. I don't think for the money we're asking that it's enough money. And then
Mm.
that would then offset the balance of kind of return on investment for the funder. But he was like, no, we're going to pull the plug. We're not going to do it. There's one coming up in a month that we're going to go for instead. And I was like, yeah, no worries, Kev. We're on it.
Because a lot of the funders want to know where their money's gone, and
Yes,
several
exactly.
months, a year down the line, they want to know has that been successful and what have the outcomes been, don't they?
Exactly. And again, if you can't then collect the feedback and the data from the project and submit that with the reporting, you run the risk of not being able to apply to the funder again if they blacklist you if you don't do your reporting, or you just start to kind of chip away at your reputation in the sector. So, you know, you don't want too many negative experiences with funders. I mean, they demand the heaven and earth in communication from charities, and obviously there's been quite a lot of commentary online about the National Lottery not being open with their changes recently in their funding priorities. So we have to make sure that we're going above and beyond on our communication, to make sure there's no kind of negative interactions there, basically.
And for the benefit of our listeners, can you just define what the difference is between a charity and a CIC?
Yes, of course. So, a registered charity or a CIO, is like a full registered charity with the Charity Commission. They're fully beholden to all of the governance guidelines by the Charity Commission. And then a CIC is a community interest company. So they would have a board of directors instead of a board of trustees. And there are separate then guidances that go along with that. And there are pros and cons for each, but I am seeing more CICs pop up recently, which is very, very interesting. And yeah, I do really enjoy supporting CICs as well, but it is a harder fundraising landscape for CICs, unfortunately.
And can a CIC become a charity eventually, or would you pick
Yes,
you could?
yeah, you can. Strangely enough, though, you have to change your name, so you can't
Right.
keep the same name. So yeah, you can transition, and it's a little bit of a process, but you can absolutely transition. But you just have to change your name.
And can a charity decide it would rather be a CIC? Can you do that way? You're not sure.
I would assume so. Actually, I don't know. That's a really great question, Debbie. I'm not sure. I've not
little
no
bit.
one's come to me and said that they want to transition that way, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Maybe there's probably benefits. I don't know. I mean, as awards, we've always been passionate about supporting this sector. So it has
Yeah,
its own category in our awards called Charity Champion. And then we fundraise for that winner the following year, the gold winner. Um, but I'm very passionate about giving this sector the exposure. And I think awards are a really good vehicle for charities and CICs. Is there any
yeah,
benefit to them when it comes to grant award applications in having awards in your experience?
100%.
Right.
100%. I'm a huge admirer of yours, Debbie, and everything that you do for the charity sector. And it was what drew me to your awards as well. And having attended last year and just absolutely cheering my little heart out for the charity that won. I speak about it all the time, and I always tell my clients if there's any awards to go for, let's have a look. I can even support with writing if you need
Yes,
to. If you
definitely.
need to. But yes, it's all about your visibility. It's all about being a real presence and a trusted presence in your community. And if you've won a community award, you look even more trustworthy. You are even more embedded in your community. I've got a fantastic client. Comfort Cases UK, they support children in care. And Sarah, the CEO, is incredible. She is going for awards left, right, and centre. She sent me one the other day, and I was just, her approach to it is fantastic because she doesn't think of it as a kind of, I don't myself as well, but sort of that kind of ego sense of kind of, oh, we've won an award, we're more prestigious a charity now. Her aspect, her kind of view of it is every award we win, we're raising the profile of Comfort Cases, we are reaching more people, we are sharing our mission to more people, and then hopefully more people then will support our mission and we'll be able to help more children. So it's kind of it is a beautiful kind of cycle in that sense, I think. But yeah, she's my example for awards because she's does it all and she's amazing.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, there are awards out there for the third sector.
Mm,
There are several award programs that run for the charity sector, CICs, which are amazing. Don't get me wrong. I think that people should be going for those. However, what I'm always saying to people is remember, if you enter a local award in your town or city or your region or national awards like ours, you
mm,
are putting your charity or CIC in front of potentially thousands of people.
yes.
And you might at the moment be very well known in your local area, but if you really want to get some good traction, then that's definitely a way to go, isn't it? Because it's the exposure at the end of the day.
100%. And I think as well, a benefit of entering a business award is that you're then in the room with some phenomenal businesses who you just don't know. They might hear about your mission and just think, oh my God, we align. We want to support you. So you might then end up with some corporate partnerships, corporate sponsorships out of that as well, which is a fantastic kind of um, either in-kind revenue stream or revenue stream for a charity as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can give a few examples from our awards. The Be Kind movement, they're a CIC and they won our award several years ago. And one of the people in the audience was part of St James's Place, and she got them a £10,000 grant through St
Amazing.
James's Place.
Amazing.
We've had, for example, at this year's Best SME Award, Sarah Owen stood up on stage, talked about her serving our superheroes, and she said, I really need help with my website. Somebody in that audience stepped forward and is creating a brand new website for her for free.
Oh, that
So
just makes my heart so
yeah,
happy.
this is,
That's
I mean,
incredible.
the things that can happen. And we had
Yes.
another charity, Their Future Today, run by the amazing Lynn Stanier. And we were able to recommend somebody to her
Hmm.
that had come into our orbit who had a house in Sri Lanka where Lynn's charity is based. And she is now a trustee of that charity and has been for a few years
Wow.
now and has brought some real value to the
Yeah.
charity as a trustee. So being in those kinds of rooms can really
Hmm.
be game changing for, I mean, these are just a few. I could sit here and talk all day. I could do probably a whole podcast episode on all the things that we've had over the years. But I think it's visibility at the end of the day
Mm,
that business awards definitely bring. I think that you've really confirmed the fact that grant funders love it as well. So there is no downside to it at all for a charity or CIC. I get there's a cost because, like with our awards, we don't charge charities to enter and we
mm,
give them a free ticket to the final because I don't want to be eating away at their hard-earned money, you know.
yes, yeah.
And I know not all awards do that. And I'm not dissing the awards that do charge charities, by the way. But it's still to me, even if you've got to pay for your tickets, it's still an opportunity to be in a room and you will probably, if you play it right, walk away with support. You've just got to make
100%.
sure you
Yeah.
contact all of the other finalists and kind of get engaged with whatever
Mm.
it is you're entering. Um, so, from your point of view, let's talk about you and awards because honestly, I was so impressed with what you've done so far. And I'm guessing you're probably a little bit unique in as much as we don't get many businesses that in such a short space of time have already achieved quite a lot of awards. And I'm guessing that's because you've made a commitment to put yourself out there, knowing the power of awards. Am I
First of all, thank you. That's
right?
so flattering to hear from you. I think I'm red. I'm blushing. I think it was really important to me to try and champion the sector as much as I could, as
Mm,
quick as I could. And the best place to do that I found was through raising my visibility,
mm,
through speaking on podcasts like this, through delivering webinars, and I had a fantastic opportunity this year to speak at a socially shared event as well, and so through all of that, my kind of constant kind of mission was to champion the sector, to talk about the issues it's facing, to really talk about what is needed for small charities to thrive, not
mm,
just survive. There was a huge influx of funding through COVID, and then it just dried up overnight.
mm.
And it was a 4.2 billion pound deficit post-COVID for small charity funding. And I don't know what anyone expected to happen, but the reality of it were organisations were closing left, right, and centre because
Mm,
they couldn't match that or sustain their funding. So it's and they are the ones, the small charities are the ones that are propping up public services and
mm.
propping up communities and us. So I'm so passionate about being such an advocate for them, basically. But no, I do this every time. I get asked a question about myself and talk about the sector.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
Um,
let's start off. What was the first awards that you entered as Phoenix Humphreys? Which one did you
um,
pick?
I entered the Women Who Solopreneur Awards,
Hmm.
and the whole process was incredible. And Sandra is incredible,
She,
and I I won One to Watch 2024, and it was like it blew my mind. I was like, I don't understand how. I didn't even expect to kind of, I was announced as a finalist, and I was like, oh my God, what amazing opportunity. I'm going to learn so much from this, and I'll come back next year and I'll win it. And she'd called my name, and I wish, so the incredible Holly Nixon is my RD for Athena. She was on my table, and she said, I wish I'd recorded your face because the pure shock. She was like, will live with me forever. And yeah, so that was absolutely incredible. And then I think I just got a taste for it. I got a taste for it, Debbie, and I was like, I can do this. I can enter more, and I can really just champion my sector and also show that freelance fundraisers and solopreneur fundraisers can be in this
yeah,
space,
yeah,
because I never see any. And
no.
of all the awards I've now attended and the incredible events I've attended, I'm always on my Todd as the fundraiser. And I want more fundraisers to be in this space and to network in this way, and to connect with more charities, basically.
So then you did We Love I Also. I'm part of I Also as well as an
Yes.
entrepreneur in 2025. So that was last year. So they pick 100 women every year to showcase. And then you are part of the F Entrepreneur community. So that will
Yeah,
be opening for the benefit of our listeners in September again for 2027. So have a little look at that. And then you won a silver award in the Best Business Women Awards
I did.
last year.
Yes, I did.
Fabulous. And you're back again this year.
I
Ah,
am. Yes, and
okay.
I received the finalist email and I nearly dropped my laptop. I was so happy. I immediately phoned my partner. So, my fantastic partner, Rob, attended the awards with me last year. We had the best time. And I immediately phoned him and said, I've done it again. I'm a finalist again. So he's coming with me again. And he's very excited.
And you're also a finalist in anything else this year?
I've entered Women Who Solopreneur
Ah, you've
again.
entered. They haven't sent the
So I'm
results off yet.
nominated. I'm nominated, and
Right.
I very proudly, and I'll be scheduling. I'll be posting very soon about it on my LinkedIn. I'm very proud to say that I nominate myself for awards,
Hmm.
and I think it's really important to kind of really own that, and not see it as anything to do with ego. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of what I do and what I achieve, and I'm really proud of the impact I make. So why not be proud of
Mm.
myself for going for an award, you know?
Yeah, because it is something that people struggle with. I get
Mm,
this all the time. They say to me, "Oh, I don't want to enter myself. It feels like I'm bragging." And I'm like, "You're not bragging. Visibility is
yeah.
responsibility." And I think you've taken that seriously because, like
Mm,
you said, it's showcasing not just your business, but also the sector that you work in. And it
yes.
inspires other people. And we have to inspire the next generation of people behind us to want to work in our sectors. So, absolutely correct there. I think that you've got a great attitude to it. And I
Thank
love
you,
the name
Debbie.
of your business because your business exactly encapsulates what you do: raise to rise. So if you
Yes.
raise money, you will rise, you will get bigger. That is exactly what that sentence, that business name is saying, mini sentence. So, what is the plan with your consultancy? What's your longer term vision? Are you going to stay working for yourself, or do you see yourself being able to build a team, or what would you like to do with it?
So I have a dream, Debbie.
Go
I have a big dream.
on.
I want to, so I need 10 million. I've already figured it out. I need 10 million. I want to open a grant giving foundation myself.
Oh my goodness, that's
Um,
amazing.
and so, but within that, I want to basically run webinars, workshops, offer fundraising advice and support, do everything I'm doing now. But because it's under this branch of a foundation, it will basically be free to access for charities. And then I'll be paid through the foundation. So I won't be homeless, I'll be good. But my big dream is to make a positive change within the grant giving and the funding sector because it's funders ask you to jump through so many hoops for such small amounts of money at times with little to no communication, no feedback, no support. And being a fundraiser, I see it every day, every single day. And that's what I want to change. So I want to create a foundation. I want to start a grant giving foundation that is that point of change and is that kind of point of reference of what an excellent funder should look like and looks like. But yes, that's my dream.
Wow, we love big dreams on the Business Award show, so we'll be watching that one. I think that's incredible. And if anyone can pull it off, you can, without a doubt.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been really, really interesting talking to you. And if you've been listening to today's episode and you are a CIC or a charity, we're going to make sure that Phoenix's details are in the show notes so you can contact her for more advice and support. And make sure that awards are on your radar because Phoenix has said today it's going to make such a difference to the success of your grant funding bids. So thank you for joining me today, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you.